Tonight on KPBS Evening Edition, more police, more city services. They're all part of Mayor Jerry Sanders' revised budget, and we'll talk with the 4 leading candidates who want the mayor's job. Also tonight, the San Diego School Board finalizes its layoff list for next year. 1 out of 5 teachers is getting a pink slip. And the nation's top nuclear regulator says troubles at San Onofre may point to problems with nuclear safety rules. KPBS Evening Edition starts now. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dwayne Brown. San Diego's budget revision looks a lot better tonight than it did even a month ago. That's when Mayor Jerry Sanders projected a $119 million surplus over the next 5 years and a balanced budget. Today, he proposed expanding some city services even more, such as street paving and library hours to pre-recession levels. He also wants to hire more police officers and firefighters in July when the new fiscal year begins.
We've also put an additional $8.3 million that Council requested into infrastructure projects such as street resurfacing and stormwater projects. And we'll increase the city's allocation to arts and cultures programs, once again requested by the Council, by 5%, which means an increase of about $300,000.
Sanders credits the surplus to reforms the city has made over the past several years, everything from managed competition and outsourcing of its information technology to the merging of departments and reductions in management. The head of the San Diego Citizens Review Board on Police Practices is firing back tonight at a grand jury report. It described an atmosphere of fear and intimidation where internal affairs officers interfered and board members bullied each other while reviewing complaints against police. Jim Casey with the review board says the report is full of accusations without factual support. He says the CRB is continually trying to improve itself. The grand jury recommends a review by the mayor's office. San Diego Unified trustees have finalized pink slips for more than 1,500 teachers. Last night's 4-1 vote came after a rally outside the meeting by teachers. The layoffs would take effect on June 30th. School officials hope the jobs can be saved through concessions by the teachers' union. Last year, the district issued about 1,300 pink slips, but rescinded most of them. The chairman of the Nuclear Regulatory Commission says problems at San Onofre could prompt changes in safety rules. The North County plant has been offline since January because of problems with tubes inside its steam generators. The tubes are wearing out more quickly than expected, and investigators are trying to determine whether design changes are to blame. Some at the NRC say the problems could have been avoided if the changes were reviewed more thoroughly. NRC Chairman Gregory Yasko says the review process may need to be changed. California regulators could double the amount of energy produced from rooftop solar systems. The State Public Utilities Commission is considering whether a change to the way utilities measure solar power can feed the grid. KPBS Business and Environment reporter Eric Anderson joins us from the News Center. So what is the State Public Utility Commission considering, Eric?
Well, basically what the panel is considering is changing how net metering is measured. And what net metering is, it's when customers generate electricity and sell it back to the grid. For the solar customers, they send power to the grid during the day and then they pull power from the grid at night. The utility balances the books at the end of the month and decides whether they should be charged or not. Now, the CPUC allowed rooftop solar customers to sell extra power, but it put a limit on the amount of power generated by those net metering customers. They wanted to see how the power grid would handle that. That limit was 5% of the peak power usage. CPUC Commissioner Mike Peavy says, however, utilities are not measuring that accurately, and he wants to keep that 5% cap in place but change the way they measure net metering. Supporters say the effect of that will be doubling the amount of power generated by rooftop solar systems.
So what's the big picture for solar use in California?
Well, right now, San Diego enjoys the distinction of being the #1 solar city in California. There are more than 4,500 solar systems installed in the county. More solar power is created here than any other California county. That said, solar still only counts for a gigabyte of the state's power. Peak power production is about 64 gigabytes, so the percentage of power coming from the sun, about 1.5%. The change in net metering could push that up to around 3%.
KPBS reporter Eric Anderson. It was a welcome homecoming today for more than 6,000 sailors who returned to San Diego. The Carl Vinson Strike Group spent 6 months in the Middle East. Friends and family gathered at North Island Naval Air Station to greet crew from the USS Carl Vinson and at Naval Station San Diego for the Bunker Hill and Halsey. Their mission took place during a time of increased tension with Iran. The sailors also took part in exercises with Singapore, Britain, India, and Australia. About 26% of all jobs in San Diego County are tied to the military, and the Navy has plans to add several thousand more. Election Day, less than 2 weeks away. Tonight, we bring you an Envision special profiling the 4 major candidates for San Diego mayor. Here's Amitha Sharma.
Good evening, I'm Amitha Sharma. San Diego Republican Councilmember Carl DeMaio has maintained a high profile since being elected in 2008. He's now vying to be San Diego's next mayor. That would mean leading the city employees he often rails against. As part of our series on the race for mayor, KPBS Metro reporter Katie Orr has this profile.
I'm Carl DeMaio. I'm your council member here, and I'm walking door to door today as part of my campaign for mayor.
It's a Sunday morning, and city councilman and mayoral candidate Carl DeMaio is walking the neighborhoods of Rancho Bernardo trying to connect with potential voters. He heads out alone, no staff members hovering nearby. During his walk, DeMaio says hello to people on the street and makes chit-chat with those who open their doors.
But I'm also walking door to door personally.
The 37-year-old DeMaio says spending his weekends walking the city doesn't seem like a big deal to him. It's just part of his nature. The Orange County native moved to San Diego from the Washington, D.C. area in 2001. For the last 3 years, he's been in a committed relationship with publisher Jonathan Hale. In 2008, DeMaio sold his companies, which provided management training to government, nonprofit, and private sector employees. He made millions from the sale. DeMaio says he wanted to, in his words, focus on fixing San Diego's financial problems. He maintains he has no political ambitions beyond becoming the city's mayor.
If we can fix the city of San Diego government, the sky's the limit for San Diego, and that's what I'm really excited about. So I think, it's a no-brainer. San Diego offers just the best quality of life and has the greatest potential if we can get our city government to match the other strengths that our community has.
But DeMaio's friendlier, earnest side is different from the persona he often presents at San Diego City Council meetings. His aggressive questioning can be seen here in a confrontation with former development official Fred Mass.
I'm asking a simple question. Who in the office of the mayor did you speak with?
I have nothing to hide here at all.
Then answer the question.
The answer is I'm not going to answer the question.
Oh, I'm not sure that's sufficient. I appreciate the fact that you are leaving the agency, that apparently you're submitting your resignation, but I believe the public deserves to know answers to simple questions.
City workers fiercely oppose DeMaio's desire to put some city services out to bid, like operations of the Miramar landfill, though DeMaio points out voters approved the idea of outsourcing services back in 2006. But likely their biggest battle is going on right now. DeMaio led the charge to get a pension reform measure on the June ballot.
They want to see an end to the city's pension crisis.
It would freeze current city workers' pay for 5 years and would eliminate pensions for most new hires, replacing them with a 401k. DeMaio says he won't apologize to the unions or other City Hall insiders who don't like his tactics, and he says he'll continue to use them if elected mayor.
If I can't get the council to stand up to the labor unions and do the right thing, then I will turn to the public and I will entrust in their hands the fiscal reform agenda that our city needs to implement through ballot initiatives.
Yet he bristles at being called a polarizing figure.
Let's really define what people are talking about. When I opposed the sales tax increase, they said it was polarizing. But 62% of San Diegans agreed with me that raising taxes in the middle of a bad economy without reform of city finances was an awful idea. When I proposed pension reform to end these outrageous pensions, the government unions called it polarizing. And yet Our pension ballot measure is supported by over 70% of San Diegans, and we broke records in collecting signatures to qualify the initiative.
DeMaio insists he's not out to hurt the futures of city employees. He just thinks current labor contracts are extravagant. And despite his already contentious relationship with the unions, DeMaio says his business experience will allow him to lead city employees effectively.
My goal for the city workforce is the following. I know they're not going to like the labor contract that I impose on them to trim the salaries and benefits down in line with the local labor market. But my secret hope is that after a year of me being mayor, they will recognize and privately admit that they're being given the best management, the best training, the best support that they have in decades in city service.
Seeking to broaden his appeal, DeMaio is also putting out plans to create more jobs in San Diego, promote volunteerism, and fix the roads, always a popular subject with voters.
As you drive further down in the community, you see some of them fixed, but you still go,
DeMaio says he's ready to take office with a plan to fix San Diego. It's a plan he'll work to sell to voters, even if it's one house at a time.
Going into the primary, DeMaio and Congressman Bob Filner were often mentioned as the two candidates most likely to make it into a November runoff. But the race was stirred up when Assemblyman Nathan Fletcher announced he was leaving the Republican Party and running as an independent candidate. The move boosted his name recognition, and he and Filner appear to be battling it out for the second runoff spot. But Fletcher still faces an uphill climb, running against three of the city's political heavyweights.
The sun is just coming up in Little Italy, but on this Wednesday morning, Assemblyman Nathan Fletcher is already hard at work. Fletcher is a devotee of CrossFit, a demanding workout that focuses on stretching, weightlifting, and shorter, intense bursts of cardio. Fletcher tries to make it 4 days a week. The married father of two boys says he'll often give up an hour of sleep to get in a good workout.
For me, I find my mental health and my physical health are really closely aligned. And so it's a great stress relief. I have more energy during the day. I feel better. I also I like the competitive nature of this workout.
Fletcher goes through his workout with a focused concentration. It's the same concentration he'll need to bring to the mayor's race if he wants to come out on top. Fletcher faces competitors who have high name recognition. And while he shares his name with San Diego's wealthy Fletcher family, he's not related to them. His opponents are also steeped in local politics. But Fletcher has spent his time in office in Sacramento, where state issues rule the day. He was first elected to the Assembly in 2008. Prior to his election, the 35-year-old spent 10 years in the Marines, including a tour in the Sunni Triangle region of Iraq. Fletcher is the youngest major candidate in the race. Still, he doesn't see himself as a newbie.
I think our experience is our greatest asset. I've led men in combat. We've literally made life and death decisions under direct enemy fire. We've demonstrated the ability to lead in challenging and difficult environments. And more importantly, we've demonstrated an ability to tackle and grasp complex, difficult issues, build those coalitions that are necessary to achieve important things.
Fletcher often cites his ability to work across party lines, and several pieces of legislation have made him better known in San Diego, though for different reasons. Perhaps his most high-profile bill was Chelsea's Law, which increases penalties for violent sex offenders. It was named after Chelsea King, who was raped and murdered by a sex offender in Rancho Bernardo in 2010. Fletcher says King's parents approached him about authoring the legislation, which passed unanimously in both the state assembly and Senate.
Aye 65, no 0, measure passes.
Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger signed it into law. It was a different bill that brought Fletcher more critical attention. In October 2010, Fletcher authored a state bill that allowed more tax money to be diverted for downtown San Diego redevelopment. The city council had begun considering the issue on its own, and some members blasted Fletcher for swooping in. But Fletcher makes no apologies for the bill.
If I have the opportunity to go and get billions of dollars for infrastructure which is crumbling, provide more money for our city, more money for our school, and let San Diegans keep more of their money in a way that there will be a full debate on how it's spent, I'll do it every single day.
Despite that rocky entry into local San Diego politics, Fletcher stresses he's the man to guide the city into a new political era.
Our city has really been through an awful decade. It's a period of time that was really defined as Enron by the sea. And I think that this election offers us an opportunity to close that chapter on San Diego and really open a new one about what is the city that we want to bring. But that does require a new mayor. It requires a new vision and a new energy, a new generation of leadership.
And Fletcher is weighing in on hot local topics as well. He supports the pension reform measure that would replace pensions with 401ks for most new city hires. He wants to streamline City Hall bureaucracy to make it easier to fix San Diego's aging infrastructure. And he says city government should be more involved with local schools, which he calls an economic and moral issue. Fletcher says local businesses are telling him they need a better skilled workforce.
I was in a meeting with a group of executives at Qualcomm. He said, we have hundreds of jobs open today, and we have thousands of applicants, and none of the applicants have the skills for the jobs of today. And so I think what we really need to drive, if we want to be the economic base of the future, we've got to have the education system.
Fletcher's decision to leave the GOP may have given his campaign the boost it needed. After trailing DeMaio and Filner for much of the past year, polls now show Fletcher having a realistic shot at making the November runoff.
Fletcher may be the flashy new candidate on the scene, but Congressman Bob Filner has been around the San Diego political scene since the late 70s. Now he has a shot at being San Diego's first elected Democratic mayor in nearly 30 years. Filner represents the 51st District in Congress and draws support from union members. But he's facing an electorate divided over the benefits city workers receive.
To help unwind after a long day, Congressman Bob Filner sometimes sits down at the piano.
It's the one thing that you can, after a long day of work, it doesn't matter how well you play, and I don't play very well, but just your mind is somewhere else, and you're fooling around with techniques that have nothing to do with political ideas or anything else. So it's a great stress remover.
Filner began taking lessons as a child and picked it up again while he was in high school in New York. The 69-year-old father of two says he's partial to show tunes from the 40s and 50s.
That was a simpler time. As I said earlier, it takes me back to my first girlfriend, where we went to the carousel.
Times are not as simple for Filner now. He's served on the San Diego Unified School Board and on the City Council. He was first elected to the U.S. Congress in 1992 and has held that seat ever since, representing South San Diego and Imperial County. He's served as chair of the House Veterans Affairs Committee and is now the ranking member. But Filner says he's leaving that behind and running for mayor because he's ready for a change.
Washington has become very dysfunctional. You can't do very much, and if you're a member of the minority party, as I am, it's almost impossible. And I look back at my hometown, where I lived for 40 years, and said, you know, I haven't seen leadership in this city, in the mayor's office, for 3 decades.
But after initial excitement that a viable Democrat was getting into the race, some of his supporters began to fret over his seemingly lackluster campaign. Alternative weekly newspaper San Diego City Beat even wrote an editorial urging Filner to pick up the pace. But Filner brushes off those concerns, saying he's had plenty of experience winning elections.
We know how to raise the money. We know how to do the campaign. We know how to tactically do this. So I will have the money for this campaign. We will have the volunteers. We have dozens and dozens and dozens of volunteers now, and we will win this election.
If he does win, Filner has several priorities for the city. He says he'd like to take greater advantage of the port. He wants San Diego to act as a regional leader, and he wants to begin investing in neighborhoods. And Filner says San Diego has to gain back many of the middle-class jobs it lost when defense contracting firms scaled back their operations here.
We have high-tech and we have service jobs. We need to provide jobs for skilled working people over the vast middle range, as it were, of our economy.
Unlike his 3 Republican challengers, Filner does not support the 401k pension reform initiative on the June ballot. But those hoping he would provide an alternate measure for the ballot were out of luck. Still, he says he has a plan that includes capping pensions.
I could do the parts of my plan without a referendum. I could put caps on the first day I'm mayor. I could negotiate a 5-year labor agreement. I could, if the council agreed with me, we could issue pension obligation bonds.
Filner says pension obligation bonds would allow the city to pay its pension debt over a longer period of time. He says that would lower the payments and free up money to put into the city's general fund. It's an idea that would likely gain traction with unions who are fighting to maintain pension benefits. Critics say it's an example of Filner pandering to the labor organizations whose support he counts on. But Filner dismisses that.
People know I'm an effective leader, and nobody controls me. I'm in nobody's pocket. I'm an independent person, and everybody knows that. Yes, I have the support of labor unions, and I'm proud of that, because those are the working people of our city. But nobody tells me what to do.
Filner says he'd work for all of San Diego, though he wants to see what he calls the downtown power structure broken up. He says San Diego has become more ethnically and politically diverse over the years, and in fact, a majority of voters in the city are registered Democrats. Filner's hoping those voters will turn out to the polls in June and push him into November's general election and beyond.
These three men are not alone in this race. Longtime County District Attorney Bonnie Dumanis also wants to be the next mayor of San Diego. She has trailed consistently in the polls, but insists that doesn't concern her. The Republican is stressing her decades of experience working in San Diego, but her history may present some challenges as well.
As San Diego County District Attorney Bonnie Dumanis strolls through Little Italy with her dog Abby trotting beside her, it's easy to see she feels at home in the neighborhood, and the neighborhood seems to embrace her as well.
Bonnie! 40. Hey, Anthony!
Dumanis says she and her wife Denise often walk Abby through the historic Italian neighborhood. She says she likes that it's easy to walk to places in Little Italy, and she enjoys the many restaurants and dog-friendly atmosphere the area provides. Dumanis says she's lived all over San Diego, from the college area to Mission Valley to Rolando. And she says her nearly 40 years in the city set her apart from her three main competitors.
It's different than somebody that comes in once a weekend from Washington or from Sacramento, or who just came, several years ago. So I think I have a depth and breadth of experience that no one else has, which gives me, I think, the relationships to, get things done.
One of Dumanis's priorities as mayor would be to restructure the makeup of the San Diego School Board. That would include adding 4 board members who would be appointed by the mayor and creating an independent financial oversight board. A similar measure to expand the school board failed to get enough signatures to qualify for the June ballot. But Dumanis says education reform is important because a district on the brink of insolvency hurts the entire city.
Education is at the core of everything we do in San Diego. And I have seen it as the district attorney. If you don't invest in your education system early on, we pay for it in many ways at the other end.
Dumanis has been San Diego's district attorney since 2002. She's widely regarded as one of the most powerful politicians in the county. She cites her experience running the DA's office as one of her strongest qualifications for mayor. But Dumanis has also drawn fierce criticism for some of her decisions. For instance, her office declined to file charges against Armando Perez after he was arrested for allegedly kidnapping and assaulting his estranged wife, Diana Gonzalez. Dumanis says there was not enough evidence to prosecute the case. A few weeks later, Perez allegedly stabbed Gonzalez to death in a bathroom at San Diego City College. Perez was recently arrested in Mexico. Dumanis says her office has since established a high-risk team to work on cases like Gonzalez's. But she says it's her job to make tough decisions, even if the public doesn't always understand them.
Our office, though, is charged with a duty, and that duty is to not file criminal cases unless we can prove them beyond a reasonable doubt. And where we can't, again, the buck stops with me, and our office, our attorneys make those decisions based on the information that they have, the evidence they have at hand.
Dumanis says she's happy to be held accountable for her decisions, and she says she has a proven track record of doing the right thing, not just trying to please people. And she says if elected, she plans to reorganize how the city's run, fix the city's infrastructure, and work with city unions to help restore their pride in working for San Diego. But she might face an uphill battle. Dumanis, like the other 2 Republicans in the race, supports the pension reform initiative that would replace pensions with 401ks for most new hires. She says it's a necessary step.
Our pensions right now are unaffordable, unsustainable. We have got to do something about that. If we don't, we cannot reach fiscal stability. So I support it, but the important part is the implementation. You need someone that has a history of implementing, that can get real results and save real money.
An estimate last year by voiceofsandiego.org put Dumanis's annual county pension at more than $200,000. Dumanis says she will not enroll in the city pension system and will donate her mayoral salary to educational programs. But while her tenure has inspired controversy for some, it's also earned her respect with others, including possible voters.
You know, our son is the deputy DA in Weld County, Colorado.
No kidding.
And putting the bad guys away.
All right.
That's what my grandson said. He puts the bad guys in jail.
As he should.
Good to see
All right. Good to see you, too.
It's that kind of enthusiasm Dumanis is hoping voters bring to the polls as she seeks to make her next mark on San Diego.
Thank you.
And that wraps up our profiles on the 4 major candidates vying to be San Diego's next mayor. For more information on the candidates, visit www.kpbs.org/mayor.
Recapping tonight's top stories, San Diego Mayor Jerry Sanders says the city's fiscal health is better than expected because of recent reforms, so he wants to hire more police and increase city services. San Diego school trustees approved the layoff of more than 1,500 teachers. The district faces a possible budget gap of $122 million. You can find tonight's stories online at kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.